People are mad at MODOK. They're mad about the MODOK thing. I get it. Some people don't like that. I also get the fact that some MCU stuff should be silly. Comic books are silly. And there's a ton of villains out there, whether it be from X-Men, whether it be from the Justice League. They have silly villains. There are tons of silly villains out there. And when a silly villain pops in and makes a mockery of things, it's not to detract from the seriousness of the story. It's to remind people that there is some fun to be had here, that not all villains should be the be all end all of scary and danger, that there's some out there that are trying their best to kill and maim and take revenge, and they are not always that great. There are a ton of specifically X-Men villains that are so silly and so ridiculous, that MODOK fits right in with this, and I really wasn't bothered by that at all. I know they changed a shit ton about MODOK. I understand that it being Darren Cross was a lot of people's problem. I understand that his face didn't look quite right all the time. I think as the movie went on, I think some of the VFX got better with MODOK, and as you like the character more, like the dangling feet, the baby legs. The writing in some of the lines with MODOK made me laugh really hard. When he is first unmasked and he sees Scott and Cassie, and he says, "Go, Cassie! I barely recognized you." Like this charming voice coming from Corey Stoll's performance. Cassie, I barely recognized you. Coming from the guy who looks like a garbage pail kid. Like they've crushed his head into a tiny little window, and it's so stupid looking. But it's like, yeah, it takes some getting used to. There's a lot of things that are uncanny valley or in that realm where it's like it's not quite believable, so it's bugging me to look at. And it's like this is part of the fun side of Marvel. I'm glad it's the more comedic ones like Ant-Man. MODOK didn't bother me at all. Now, one thing I will gripe about, and I think it's partially, again, I always complain about this, the advertising, the marketing for this movie made it look like Scott was going to die. Now, I didn't fully believe that Scott was gonna die. I'll show you, like, there's 18 clips of me saying Scott's gonna die, but you know who should have died? It was very evident to me by the end of the movie, nearing the end of the last, like, 20 minutes, I was positive that they were gonna kill off Hank. Just positive, because they gave him one of the best written roles. He had some of the best lines, some of the best growths as a character. He told Scott that he read every damn word of his book, and they shared a moment of, like, mutual pride and like a son-like, father-like thing. It's a beautiful moment that they had. And then he comes and saves the day with the cavalry of ants. You're telling me that that was not, don't get me wrong, the line where he says, "Sorry, I'm late." That was a bad line. It was a shit line. Um, my smallest cat is going to knock over something expensive. She has so much more room to roam because we have a bunch of shelves that usually have stuff on them. And now she's like, I'm gonna walk around on everything. See, you're knocking things over. You're knocking over Camilla. Camilla the Muppet chicken. The chicken from the Muppets. That's Camilla. You don't knock over Camilla. Gonzo's already knocked over. What are you doing? You're breaking up worlds. Leave Donatello alone. I think that honestly, poetically, Hank should have died. Don't get me wrong, that doesn't I'm not saying that every movie has to have death. I'm saying that this movie had two jobs to do. Hank should have died. I'm sorry. He was written so beautifully in this movie that it was like a send-off, in my opinion. By the end, he saves the day with all the ants, and you're not gonna the actor is gonna be like over 80 by the time they make another one of these. It bugs me. Why not go out on a high note? Why not do a nice send off and raise the stakes of the villain? I'm just saying.
Oh, come on.